and you're still on the mat. It's you know,
Still training after multiple injuries.
Yeah.
You know, according to my doctor, I'm not supposed to be training anymore.
Right.
But I'm thankful that I'm still training. I limit myself now. I have to, just because of my own medical history. You know, I'm still able to do certain things, so I'm going to keep training as much as I can.
How has Jiu-Jitsu helped in your life?
Well, you know, at this point, it's just a part of my life and part of who I am. Right? You know how that goes.
Yeah, I think martial arts too, because you grew up doing Taekwondo and Korea, right?
Yeah, but you know, Jiu-Jitsu even more so at a core level. I think people do Jiu-Jitsu because it represents something to them and for them, and everyone's reason's probably unique to them.
Right,
For me, you know, Jiu-Jitsu touches the body, mind, and the spirit, and I just think it's so fundamental and elemental to who we are as people. You know, at a basic level, human conflict and the ability to do something in a conflict situation, I think, is something that touches everyone. And so that's what intrigued me about Jiu-Jitsu to begin with. Seeing something that, to me, represented the ability to survive, if not succeed and submit your opponent, regardless of size, level of aggression, age, and all the other factors that normally dictate what happens in a physical confrontation. That's what really interested me when I first saw the UFCs and Hoist, and you know, like UFC 1, I think it was.
You're like, maybe it was luck, right?
Exactly. Maybe it was fluke. Maybe it just works for members of the Gracie family because they've been doing it since they came out of the womb. But then as you saw more and started to understand a little bit what was happening, you realize, okay, this is actually based on physics, anatomy, and the truth of what actually works and what doesn't. So for folks that grew up, you know, in the 70s or 80s or even the 60s, the idea of fighting and martial arts was all striking. And then this fake mysticism about martial arts masters and the death touch and that sort of nonsense, right? And so I think by the time the first UFC came around, I knew enough to know that that's not real. Right? Even if you're a skilled striker, boxer, kickboxer, how big you are, how strong you are, how young and athletic you are, make a huge difference. But then when I watched Hoist in action, it started to raise those questions of, is skill and execution actually enough to overcome all of those other factors? So that's what was intriguing and mesmerizing. Now, as we watched more UFCs, Pride, and then different representations of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I think we have come to learn that, no, it's not mystical and it's not magical. Jiu-Jitsu has its limits. And how you apply it and what you come up against, of course, make a difference, right? And so we've come full circle now in that we understand it more technically and athletically, but still, if you ask me, I think if you ask anyone who's a jiu-jitsu practitioner and even people that just observe MMA, they will say, what's the single most effective martial art that can overcome all of these, you know, physical factors? It's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, we can't, you know, that time, right, of what is the best martial art. It's just like sometimes I post like an old Hoist Gracie, him doing the foot stomps in the early UFCs, because you can't forget that era, because that proved how it works, right?
Yeah.
Against all different martial arts, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I mean, all the different ones that
Yeah.
people would say, if I punch you here, kick you here, I'll kill you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And shut it all down, right?
Yeah.
All this mysticism.
Yeah, that was a window in time when you can look at it like a purest moment in martial arts history, where it was really style versus style.
Yeah.
Now you don't have that because everyone is well versed in, at least 2, 3, 4 types of
Yeah.
martial arts, and now it's more about the athlete than about the style.
Right. Yeah. Being in MMA, living, fighting professionally for 10 years, and then my daughter's like, all in wrestling, now. And so me just being a part of that kind of makes me just reflect on jiu-jitsu again and what that means for society, for people, for everybody. And just makes me value not just the self-defense or the effectiveness of it, but also just the lifestyle. Because MMA, wrestling, these, like jiu-jitsu you can do forever,
Yeah.
You should be able to do forever.
That's right. That's right. Even compared to judo. Right? And judo's terrific. And of course, jiu-jitsu and judo have that common lineage. But I think if you ask most judo guys, or if you look at most judo guys, you don't see many 60, 70-year-old guys doing judo throws. It's hard on the body. Jiu-jitsu is much more adaptable. You may not smash and pass the way you did when you were 25 years old, but there are so many other dimensions to jiu-jitsu that, yeah, it is something that you can do, hopefully, for the rest of your life.
Yeah. We have Alan, right? Savage. He's almost 80, 78, and Haley Gracie, like he was on the mat, and maybe he couldn't, do a lot of the stuff, but he'd be like, no, try to submit me, and you couldn't submit him because he'd have his defense down.
That's right. That's
He
right.
find a way to win, right?
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about jiu-jitsu that's unique in terms of longevity and how long you can stay committed to it, and that is your goals are very personal, and it's multidimensional. So your goals aren't always winning medals or notoriety or fortune as a full-time jiu-jitsu athlete. When you get older, or depending on what other things you have going on in your life, your goals may just be fitness, survival, perseverance. And, people that do it for decades are going through lots of things in life. Life happens.
Yeah.
And you'll hear testimony after testimony about how jiu-jitsu has helped them get through difficult personal moments and struggles, or help them to fundamentally change as a person.
Yeah.